We have started. I have clicked the start button.
How was your holiday, Tom? By the way,
Yeah,
so I hadn't asked to be rude.
No, I was going to ask how TomCon was. I'm assuming they were both at the same Tom convention.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's supposed to be a secret event, Tom. Come on.
No, it's like Davos. It's just the same thing, just a bit more expensive. Yeah.
I mean, you've got such a wide.
It is when you've organised it.
I mean, I'd expect it to be a wide-ranging list of guest speakers. I mean, Chris picked his two favourites last week: Tommy Robinson and the voice of Thomas the Cat's owner.
I thought of a few others actually since then.
Yeah,
I
and I
thought
did
maybe
as-
Tom
and I did as
Conti
well.
could have come along.
Well, I was thinking of what about Hiddleston, Holland? What about the Tank Engine?
The Tank Engine. Please tell me Thomas the Tank Engine was there.
Exactly. Yeah. Cruise.
Was he puffing away on his pipe again? And
Yeah. And Tom and Jerry both were there.
Did Jerry feel a bit left out? Like,
it's always a bit controversial when Joey comes up.
Yeah.
They come as a pair. They can't nod.
Yeah.
It's always a bit awkward when he's there, but
unhealthy relationship, that one. They need to both, they need to just cut ties and go find other people.
Yeah.
Or they need to just both come out together and say, call it out as it is.
That's
It's a sadomasochistic relationship.
Exactly. That's all, folk, is their safe word.
Well, there was an honesty box. What we haven't told you is there was a priest's box as a confession box in the corner.
Tom confessions. Well, let's dive in. A full roster today. Isn't that great? Let's dive in. Play the intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to New Dice Please, the bite-sized Blood Bowl podcast brought to you by the people at Blood Bowl Live. My name is Chris. Joining me, as always, Mr. Scott Bryant. Scott, what is your favourite musical note?
My favourite musical note, F sharp.
Beautiful, beautiful. Also joining us, Mr. Tom Hovell. Tom, favourite musical note?
C sharp.
C sharp, beautiful. And Mr. Tom Feeks as well.
I feel like you're really starting to scrape the barrel here, Chris. We may have to come up with a new thing.
I am scraping the barrel.
I'm going to go with C. Children, please.
Sorry, I feel like I need to narrate for anyone listening. Tom's children have appeared behind him, one with a hammer above his head.
Mallet. Welcome to my life. Give me half an hour, okay? Go to something else.
Really excited to figure out how I edit this. This is going to be great.
Well, I know that you're not going.
Did you say your kids are asking you for crystal? Was that meth or something? Or
No.
have they moved on from cigarettes or what? I don't know.
When in Suffolk.
It's it's one thing after cigarettes have got
some smack.
When you're on the cigarettes at 8, you've got to build up quick, haven't you?
No, they've got. There's no
coming out of this. There's no digging your way out of this one.
No, there is not. It is your mission to get child services.
Just say what it is.
They've had a lovely day at Southwold. My mum got them little crystals each, and Charlie got one, which is one that you break open himself. He's desperate to do it, but they've said to wait till I'm around.
Okay.
Hence the hammer as well.
Hence the hammer. Well,
is it a geode technically then to open it up?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Well,
good luck.
I'm not a geologist, so I'm going to go with yes.
My favourite musical note, probably just a boring old C. I'll take that. But no, we're not talking about new musical notes this week. No, instead, we are talking. You will have seen through various other coverage on Blood Bowl Live that we were very heavily present at Revolution, the A&D BBL Blood Bowl tournament that took place this last weekend. Myself was there, Scott was there, Mr. Tom Feeks was there, Mr. Tom Hovell was enjoying Amsterdam cafes, but a good day had by all, and we thought we'd talk about how we got on.
Yeah, so I, as you say, I was enjoying the delights of Amsterdam, so I was unfortunately not able to go there. So set the scene. What give us a bit of background about the event? What was anything special about the event?
Scott raises his hand. A point for
Yeah,
Mr. Bryant.
first things first. I thought Mr. Tom Feeks looked resplendent in his NDP jersey. I thought I was obviously cut in fine figure. However, there was a certain individual who did not really step up to represent the team, and it felt like a bit of a flat triumvirate, if I'm honest with you. You know,
I could
2
not
out of
find
3.
my t-shirt in the
Meatloaf
wallet.
said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Yes, it is. Let's
Yeah, we had Pompey, Caesar, and Crassus was just laying the side down.
Yes, I
Very,
couldn't
very
find my
disappointed.
t-shirt. I couldn't find it. It's somewhere in this house with all of my other Bloodbowl t-shirts, and I've got no idea where. It was a good day. It was a good day. It was a pretty standard tournament build, really. Budget-wise, skill package-wise, 3 tiers, very standard. With the exception of the rule regarding crowd surfs. So, if a player got crowd surfed, then rather than just doing your normal D16 or normal injury roll, instead, before you did your injury roll, you rolled a D6, and on a 2 to 6, normal, on a 1, that player turned into a rotter lineman and returns to your team as a rotter. So, depending on who got surfed, it could be a bit of a win. You know, if you lost a Snotling, you might suddenly gain a strength 3. If you lost a Mummy or something like that, you're going to be in trouble. But yeah, just a little extra kind of bonus there, which I think a few people had it happen. There were a handful, and a few people sort of said afterwards that it was the right level of chaos to bring in, because it was quite rare that it happened. It was rare enough that you were quite unlucky if you lost a player. Well, it wasn't necessarily bad if you player turned into a rotter. Wasn't necessarily a bad thing, wasn't necessarily a good thing, and it was kind of rare enough that you always had that jeopardy, and it would maybe just make you think, yeah, I'm going to do that crowd surf, when you may not have done before. But it wasn't such a kind of insane addition that it made it unbalanced.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. And did it happen to any of you?
No.
Not to me, no. And I did have players crowd surfed, but they didn't turn.
Not for me. I was good. I was well behaved.
Okay. And what about the mix of teams? So how many people attended?
30.
Well, if you want to know a full breakdown, you can go back, Tom, and listen to last Thursday night's exclusive team reveal stream that we did, which went down very well indeed. Our feedback was very good indeed.
We were before we started recording, me and Scott were like excited children at Christmas, and then we absolutely flew through. I mean, majority tier 1s, 15 tier 1s, 11 tier 2s, 7 tier 3s, and Dark Elves. Actually, no, I'm looking at the wrong one. 15 tier 1, 11 tier 2, 4 tier 3s, majority Skaven and Lizardmen, 4 Skaven, 4 Lizardmen, humans then the most popular one. So yeah, I think when we went through the rosters, it felt like it was a kind of decent spread of different builds. Like, none of the Lizard teams were identical, none of the Skaven teams were identical. Everyone had gone for slightly different kind of builds, which I think was quite nice.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah, it definitely did feel like a good spread of teams throughout the day. There was definitely a lot of edge and speed.
Felt like there was a lot of edge.
Yeah, not as much bash as maybe I would have expected. But it just generally, it was just a really fun day. Obviously, our Basket Dragons we know it is just a really good little venue. But then being able to go out and play on the tables out in Hopsters by the river when the sun was out and it stayed dry all day. So it was just generally, as a general point, regardless of my results, it was just a really fun day.
The facilities, Tom, were very, very good as always. You know, you can't ask for a better location on a nice summer day. You know, beer, Blood Bowl, pizza, coffee, the full works. I mean, what more does a Blood Bowl coach want?
Sounds like a dream. Yeah, absolutely. And what about star players? Was there a big mix of star players, or did people tend to now just play a full roster?
Well, I have the stats in front of me. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different star players that came. And only 2 were kind of repeated on multiple rosters. You had Skitter appear 3 times, and Maple was in 2 rosters as well. I think Maple was there with humans and with gnomes. And I think Skitter was there mainly with Skaven, but also there was one Skitter with I think it was a Snotling team who had Skitter and Varug as the choice of 2. So yeah, I only encountered 1 star player, which was against Scott with his Skitter build. But yeah, a good spread.
I encountered 2. I had Maple in the first round when I played Gnomes, and I had Ivan, the Animo Death Shroud, when I played Luke and his Shambling in the 3rd round.
Side point on that: do we know if Ivan ever did face one of the dwarf teams?
I don't think he did.
No,
actually.
he did.
Ivan was Luke, wasn't it?
Such a shame.
Yeah, Luke played Carl Skaven in 2nd round, me in the 2nd round. 3rd round rather, and I can't remember who Luke played in the 1st round.
He played vampires in the 1st round.
There you go. Oh, it was Mitch, wasn't he? He played. Was it Mitch?
Yeah.
Okay. How did you find Maple then? Because everyone kind of says, "Oh, it's a bit broken. They should be a megastar."
I didn't, but if you'd like me to lead that into my first game against Gnomes, that's a perfect segue.
What a wonderful segue. I'm going to let you guys talk while I go and sort out some barking dogs, but I'll be back. You keep going.
Okay. So first match, I played the Gnomes. I played Steve from Norwich. Evening, Steve, if you're listening. And when I saw the team, so it was Maple and 2 trees. It was, basically lots of dodge and wrestle. So the trees worried me more than anything else because I had 2 pieces with tackle, always a winner. And of course, when you got that prehensile tail on Skitter and shadowing, it did actually work in this game, believe it or not, which was quite nice. So to start with, I was glad I received the kick, and I just thought, go for it. Steve was unlucky with his dice. He was either not breaking the armor, or when he was breaking the armor, it was like 3s, 4s, and 5s, which against rats can be very devastating. So yeah, took the chances, scored quite quickly, got casualties, and then towards the end of the second half, it was a numbers game. And I think on a couple of occasions, the trees rather took root. So when you've got 2 trees who can't take root, and Maple, that sort of extended block is only once per half and didn't really do anything. I thought the grab and the tentacle skill is more useful on Maple to control the players in the center of the board, but I just sort of left one lineman or one gutter runner in base content, leave it as a sacrificial lamb. If it doesn't get killed, then it's just gonna Maple can't really do anything. So yeah, play well. And Skitter was phenomenal, especially in the last third when there were lots of gnomes. If you just want someone to go around and break armor on either a fox or a gnome, Skitter's the dude to do it. He absolutely on fire. 3 casualties, which had to be chalked off because stab casualties don't count, as I found out. But otherwise, yeah, one of those games, it went my way, played well, enjoyed it, and Steve was good despite the dice being particularly not good for him. So took chances, and that combination of edge plus tackle really, really helped.
Cool, nice. And Chris, what about your first game?
I had Leanne with her goblins in game 1, which I was quite pleased with because I think it was Leanne's first tournament. So it was quite nice for that to be a game against someone she knew. It was a really unfortunate start for her because she did, she set up, she put all of her weapons on, absolutely went for it, and I had 4 blocks I could do on turn 1. 3 of those blocks resulted in casualties. 1 was a bomber and 1 was a chainsaw. So it was just the worst start for her. Losing 2 weapons that aren't coming back, whether you got a bribe or not, straight off the bat, and being 3 players down when you immediately start your turn against all of the Blocksaurus and the skinks that I've got. So yeah, it was an unfortunate start for her, but it was the perfect start. Could have been, it was 3-0 in the end. It could have been 4, but failed to pick up on a couple of occasions. I think the weather changed to pouring rain, making it picking up on a 4-up, which I just couldn't do even with rerolls. So yeah, it was a perfect start. It was a case of my dice were absolutely hot, and it was good because it meant I didn't need to utilize the croc score too much. I could just kind of place them in difficult places and not worry too much. If I didn't have to activate the croc score, I didn't activate the croc score. So I think she boneheaded once in that game, and that was it. So yeah, I was really pleased, and I tried to kind of make sure I tried to do as much as I could to kind of make sure Leanne was set up and kind of knew what to expect from the rest of the day as well. So yeah, it was a good start.
Nice. How about yourself, Tom?
Not so good a start.
So just before you start, remind us all of what your team was.
So I was Underworld Denizens. So I had 15 players, bribe and bias ref, and an Apo. So I think you can see what my game plan was going to be. Went against the eventual winner, Carl, and lost 3-0. The first 3 or 4 turns were just really, really bad. And it was kind of my own making. I overstretched slightly to try and get a good foul in on his tackle blitzer, because I was just thinking if I can get that off the pitch with all of my goblins dodging around, that's going to be huge. Broke his armor, didn't get him off. And then only after I'd moved the pieces and done the foul, I realised that I just left the tiniest crack open for Skaven to get through with a good block. And he danced all the way through to 2-die my gutter runner, 10, and the Apo failed. So I had to do 15 turns as Underworld without a gutter runner, which is basically impossible. You're not scoring. You're virtually not scoring. Although I think on turn 7, I was in a position to score, and he 2-die uphilled my thrower and got him, which was just a bit painful. And then, yeah, it kind of went on from there. It was every time I was knocking him down, I could break the armor, just couldn't remove him. Just could not remove him. And it got to the point where I was just then being swamped by Skaven. But it was me. I was overstretching myself in the hope of getting the early removal. And I paid the price because I was tempting Nuffle by having it right there. And Nuffle came back and bit me hard. But Cole's an absolute gent throughout and gave me some lovely honey at the end, and I've had some already, and it's beautiful.
It's really tough, isn't it? Because you can look at it now as you lost that game in the way that you lost it, but against the guy who went on to win the tournament. But when you're there on the day, you're like, if Carl went on to lose his next 2 games, you're like, oh, I lost, and the guy who beat me, didn't do a lot. So at that point when you lost, it's like, oh God. But now when you look back on it, it's like, actually, I lost to the guy who went on to win. So it's kind of puts it into perspective a bit.
Nice.
Exactly.
Cool. So that was the first round. So at that point, where were we all sitting in the table then?
Go on, Chris. Go on. Go on.
We made sure that NDP were there to look after the guys at the top and the guys at the bottom. So me and Scott looked after the guys at the top, and we were sat 1 and 2, and we let Feeks look after the guys at the bottom.
You're such a generous person, Chris.
Okay, so when you say it's a standard tournament, the first game, straight after the first game, did you have a break and have lunch and whatever, or did you go straight into the second game?
Yeah, lunch after game 1, a nice little break for a cheeky pint if you wanted it from Hopsters, pizza. It kind of the location is perfect for that. Like you can go and there's various shops to go and buy sandwiches and stuff. But yeah, a pint and a pizza at lunchtime for your tournament is great.
Very good. And you were then straight back into the second match. So let's start with let's go backwards then. Tom, who did you face next?
So I had Scott Norman in my second match, and I've been trying to think all day about how I summarize how this went.
The great thing is, I'm really keen to hear how you summarize it, because we all know that we all know the enigma that is Scott Norman and the way that he plays. So I'm so intrigued to hear you, as someone who hadn't played him before and plays in different leagues, how you found playing Scott, because it's majestic. It's yeah.
I was a really weird mix about being the most triggered I've ever been and the most in awe I've ever been. It was such a weird, infuriating mix of this shouldn't work. Oh, it's worked. I was like, right, I'm going to do this, rush, no rerolls. Cool. Okay, I didn't see that because no one else plays that way. So I just had no idea how to combat him. And I scored. It was 1-1. I scored relatively early on to get some of his weapons off, and one of his bribe failed, which was a bit unfortunate for him. He did pull one back before half time. But then, yeah, I have never seen someone pull off so many dice rolls that you think statistically should have failed at some point that just sailed through. And in all honesty, if he wasn't a nice guy, I'd be more angry about it, because it was also one of the most fun matches I've ever had, because it was just insane. But then coupled with turn 16, ran out of time, my turn 16, and all I needed was 3 threes, and it would have been 2-1. Dave Rue, I am I don't know if I can ever forgive you for that. All I needed was 20 seconds.
You shouldn't have rolled the dice. You shouldn't have rolled the theoretical dice.
I know. I was just curious. In all honesty, I do it to hope that I wouldn't have worked anyway. And make myself feel better. But no, because he took the all goblins, no trolls build, and he just went for it. Every single turn was going for it. There was no safe play. It was just, yeah, this is the fun one, so I'm going to do it. And I have so much respect for that kind of play. I was so triggered. I was shaking by the end of it, being like, do you just think that fail something the entire time? But the fact that he was pulling off, I was also like, all right, fair play.
Just for the viewers and listeners, if you do ever want to see any of Scott Norman's games, there's plenty of them on our YouTube channel. So there's some fantastic ones. And you just need to, if you don't know which ones they are, just look out for goblins and then just forge through a little bit, and all you can hear is their opponent in exasperation of, how are you doing this?
There's a great one where he's playing ogres against goblins, and it's one of the best. It's one of the greatest matches between two coaches who are just absolutely there for the hijinks, and it's so good to watch. Nobody that I've played puts fear into me like Scott Norman, because you can never really plan. You can plan a bit, but he's just going to throw so much chaos at you, and he does it so well that it is terrifying.
To plan is to fail.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was finding. I was just like, right, I've got a nice screen in front of my gutter runner. He's so many squares back. He's not going to do it, and somehow he's then swamped it. Managed to get 2 dice, but leaps, dodges, rush all over the place. And I'm like, what?
Okay, so we'll leave Tom with his pain.
Yeah, I'm getting triggered again. I need to.
And we'll go, how did your game go then, Chris, on the second one?
Well, if I may, Mr. Coe, Mr. Coe's, as he said at the top, in his first match, his dice on his initial couple of turns were phenomenal, and they continued in that form. And he had 3 casualties. I think that was by your second or your first drive, Chris.
It was one casualty it was one casualty a turn for the first 3 turns against your rats.
It was, and I won the toss and I elected to receive, and I thought, yeah, I had a plan, but the attrition game in the first half, the attrition game was bad enough. I kicked to Chris, so yeah, got the punch in and deserved, and. I thought he was going to stall a bit more than he did, but Chris scored on turn your 6, and then I misjudged. Fortunately, I thought I had 2 turns left, so I planned for 2 turns. I forgot. I didn't really totally forgot. I had 3 turns left. Interesting. Then I got to a position in the middle of the pitch with a lovely Skaven cage, and Chris completely surrounded it. It was just evil. So I had Bloxauruses on each corner, and there were skinks and everywhere, and a chameleon. And I did some I thought quite nice ratty bullshit, and despite only getting pushes, and then I think it was 3 up dodge, 3 up dodge, 3 up pickup, 3 up dodge, 3 up dodge, 2 up dodge in to score, which was beautiful. So 1-1 at half time, looking all right. Came back with 10 players.
Yeah,
I think it was
9 actually, possibly
9. Yeah, sorry, it was too light. And then I thought, Tom, to be honest, let's go YOLO. Let's go for it. Maybe let's stretch it a little bit. And like Feasy, you stretch it a little bit too much. And the thrower picked up, went to pass, and failed the pass on a 3+, obviously with re-roll at the time, and rolled a 1, so the ball went. And rightly so, the Saurus punched a hole in the line, flooded through, and after that it was an uphill battle and a war of attrition. I think I was down to 2 players on the pitch by the end with all the KOs and the casualties. And a certain Mr. Coe went to his favourite top left-hand corner of the pitch and stayed there for 5 turns, just being that guy. But he got the 2-1 win, he moved on. And honestly, I was kicking myself more after that, just because, with hindsight, should I have just dropped back and just caged up and played it safe and then gone for that sort of score in turn 2, 3 of the second half, possibly? But hey, that's my learning that I'm taking out of it. And I came up with the best when I did blitz your ball carrier. No, I actually went down. I got the 2 dice blitz on your chameleon, who's next to the ball, pushed him onto the ball, and it bounced. And it bounced onto your skink, didn't it, straight away, who caught it with a beautiful natural 6. And and I prophesized, and I was a bit verbal across the store about the way I said the word, oh fuck, yeah, that did echo, and it made a lot of people smile. But yeah, anyway, it's always against Chris. We always have our matches of the last couple of rounds, and the games we've played have always been so very close affairs at the moment. They're always very. I think Chris has just got the slight upper hand in the last couple of matches. This match, and then the last one we had, which was I think it was Pro Elves versus Delves practice, and when we had the Woodies versus Lizardmen practice, and all those sort of things. They've been uber close. They really are.
Yeah, it was. I think removing the amount of players I did was helpful. And I mean, to be fair, Scott, I think in that second half, the failed pass meant the ball was free, and I could make a pass, and I could get someone off the ball and get enough players on it. But I think if you had got it and tried to kind of be slower, like the rate at which I was removing players and the rate it continued, you'd have been so swamped. I think it would have been tough. I mean, there's last 5 turns where a lizard with a ball surrounded by lizards, and it was the only thing Scott could do was just chuck rats in there, and it was terrifying because even if a rat failed a dodge and landed next to the ball carrier, if they weren't at least stunned, then that's just a player who can stand up and blitz next turn. So I then was spending those last 5 turns keeping the cage intact, but surrounding those players and fouling them to try and get them off the pitch, which was then working. But I think I had 2 sendings off, maybe.
I think you had 1 sending. I did get 1 cash, so that was quite happy. So yes.
So it was very nervy, but like Scott said, like our games do always tend to be very, very tight, and I think they're mostly 2-1s in one way, shape, or form. So yeah, when it was 1-1 going into the second half, I wasn't sure, and I think I got that little stroke of luck, but. Yeah, it's a quite entertaining game. Like that, it was the top table game, so it is available to watch if anyone wants to over on Bloodbowl Live. So feel free to go have a look. It was so much fun, and we referenced you, Tom, as much as we could with Scott's team being called the Tom Hovell Collective.
In tribute to you, Tom, when Chris did kill one of my players, I think he's one of the gutter runners, he outright killed him, and I didn't take an APOC. Why would you? And Chris did, just through, just to be such a nice gentleman, he said, yeah, he had to roll the injury roll, and he was very pleased that it was only a 4 on the injury dice.
Yeah,
on the casualty.
He killed you, Tom. So
thank you. That's very kind. Very
He's
kind.
very considerate. Very considerate.
So that was round 2. So going into the third round, where were we all sitting in the table?
I think top, middle, bottom.
I think we are top, middle, bottom. Really, I'm sat at the top. Scott, you must have been about halfway.
Just about halfway, yeah.
And Tom, you wouldn't have been right bottom because you got your points for the draw, so you must have been kind of bottom third.
Yeah, 24th, 23rd. Around that sort of area. I had picked up a few cash as well in the game against Scott, so there had been a few bonus points shoved in there as well.
Again, making sure that NDP had good coverage over the whole table.
Yeah, we made sure we were going to be spread out nicely.
Yeah.
We don't like to be biased. We like to have an even spread across it. And at this point, had there been any kind of highlights? Had there been any on any other games? Had people have been mentioning certain things that had happened on previous matches that were worth talking about?
I think Tom Huns was very excited. He was trying to get most surfs, and I think his Bloodspawn had killed itself on lots of occasions, but he's having a good time as well. Andy and his Norse and Morg were there or thereabouts. They weren't quite killing everything as we expected them to be killed. And generally, it was one of those very entertaining, just nice community, nice environment to be around, and I think everybody thought that as well. So yeah, it was very good.
Cool.
I think the beers were starting to flow by then. So
we had 3 Hanleys in attendance, so they were battling for the handliest Hanley. And I think going into this game, it was very tight between James and Robert, who was going to be the handliest Hanley. So that was quite interesting to keep an eye on as well, because I think James went into the last game, and he could have been five coaches went into the last game on 2 wins. So there were 5 who were kind of in that obvious position of going for the title, and James was one of them. But was drawn against his brother, against Robert, in that last game. So that was a good one to see.
Okay, cool. So going to the last game, so Scott, how did it work out for you?
I was playing the mighty Luke Baggett, who I christened Carl because it just winds him up. It was a error many years ago, but I like to do that anyway. So, and honestly, it was. I started a bit because I was still kicking myself over the attempted throw and just overthinking, what happened in the previous match. But Luke was a legend, and we managed, as Blood Bowl coaches should, we managed to consume 4 pints each in the next 2 hours. So that was so 4 pints of beer in a game of Blood Bowl. That was fun. I started, get that early touchdown in, get it scored. Had to use a lot of re-rolls earlier than I thought I would do. So I scored Carl, who's now known as Luke, who's now known as Carl again. He scored with... he honestly, his star player, Ivan, was all right, especially with his tackle. But It was one of those very fun, very stupid, very entertaining games, especially after the second beer. He scored, and then I did a very cheeky, beautiful one-turn touchdown at the end of my turn 8, and then it was equalised, and then I managed to score one on my turn 15, something like that as well, which did give Luke an opportunity to come back. But again, after 4 pints, that was literally, and I'd been failing all day. It was literally a step out of a tackle zone with the thrower, go pick up the ball, go rush, hurl it down to a gutter runner who was marked, dodge out and run down, score. And it was a thing of beauty. And even Tom Huns was there, and I was with Tom Huns trying to encourage him to help break the Tom Huns curse that whenever he watches me play, I roll a 1 into a 1. Didn't happen. Close, but didn't happen. So we might have broken the curse. Never say never. But it was just a really, really fun, entertaining game, and a way to finish the game as well.
Can I just make a few additional comments about that game? First of all, Luke said to me that Scott was incredibly salty until near the end of the second pint. It took him a good 2 pints to warm up, and also, by the time that they were finishing, they had me and Dave Rue and I think other people around them just going, "Guys, you need to finish. Come on."
We're like,
"Get this done. We need to give the prizes out. Will you just hurry up and finish this game?" And both of them were just sat there so chill because they're 4 pints in at this point.
Drink responsibly, kids. But otherwise, it was a lot of fun. So a lot of fun, Tom. Will I take rats next year? Wait and see.
Cool. And what about yourself, Tom?
Finished the day quite well with a 3-1 win over Mark and his Orcs. Looking at his roster beforehand, there was a lot of block. So I was thinking this could be a bit of a rough one to try and work my way through. But my rogue finally decided to come through, cashed a big one on turn 1. And turn 2, then knocked another one down, which I then cashed with a foul off, and the bias ref finally came through and worked out. And really since then, Mark was on a bit of a uphill battle because we also had sweltering heat. So I had lots of expendable players that I didn't really mind going off. Every one of his players had value, really. So it was kind of, I think it benefited me more than him. In all honesty, it did kind of ruin the game a little bit because, there were times where my gutter was off and his troll was off, and you suddenly think, you can't, who's doing what at this point? It was another reason why I hate that weather event. But it was the one match where the build that I took finally worked with the removals and giving Underworld that sort of space, having had removed a couple of the Strength 4 guys, suddenly they can tear right through. And even one of the line rats scored as well with the gutter off. Even they managed to do some Skaven BS. So it worked out quite well. But I did feel a bit sorry for Mark because I think the weather just... he was always... My dice was so hot first couple of turns that he was always going to struggle, and then the weather just did him in. Because a goblin goes off for me, whereas a big one goes off for him. It's quite a lot.
Very cool. And Chris, how about yourself?
It was game 3 on the top table, and it wasn't meant to be. It was against Carl. It was an incredibly tight game. Aware of fixtures happening around us, James was playing next to us with Robert. If he won, then that was a big thing. But he drew his game.
Was James and Robert playing? What teams?
They were playing Skaven. He was Skaven and Robert was Lizards. So exactly the same game that me and Carl were playing. They drew 2-2. You had Phil with his Dark Elves against Unsullied with his Dwarfs. And the Dark Elves 1-2-1. So me and Carl knew that a draw wasn't enough. One of us had to win the game. And if one of us won the game, we should take the win. It was really, really close. Carl was spectacular. Like first half, I received the ball and failed a pickup, and then the rats just swarmed in and got the ball. I defended it as best I could, did what they needed to, and got the lead. So against the drive being 1-0 down, I was immediately quite concerned. Then managed to kind of do what I could, and got a touchdown, and waited until turn 8. I sat exactly the number of spaces away from the end zone as I needed to until turn 8, protected the ball carrier, ran in to level the game. Carl went for a one-turner on his turn 8, but didn't quite manage to do it. But he wasn't far off, but yeah, not quite. And then in the second half, Carl Dackard immediately brought everybody back. I just moved everyone forward. So pretty much the entire, save 1 or 2 turns, the entire second half happened right near his end zone. And I've not played against that before, but I was relatively confident because I thought, I've got a big Saurus wall with a croc score. I've got a big wall of flesh. I've got skinks to back it up. If I can remove some players and just keep moving forwards, I know what he wants to do, but I should be able to kind of hold it in place. And was a bit, I did everything I needed to. I got, it got to a point where he failed a roll, caused a turnover, which meant I could do one punch and then I can get to the ball carrier. And it felt at that point, I felt like I was going to get it. I felt like I was going to get there. Freed up the ball bounced into the crowd, and the crowd threw the ball onto my chameleon, who was in between 2 rats, kind of on his own, up towards the middle of the pitch, and I just couldn't get enough players back. I was at a point where I thought, if I don't sort out this ball now, Carl's won. And the only option really I had to get a good punch on the ball was to do a 5-up dodge with a Saurus to get them out to do the blitz, and obviously they didn't do that. So Carl was magnificent. Carl did Skaven perfectly. His build was great. Frenzy on his blitzer was an inspired choice. Kick came in handy to slow me down. He did everything he needed to, and I didn't feel bad at all kind of coming away from that game, because I thought I did everything I could, and save for a slightly better bounce and a slightly better crowd throw, I think I've won that game. Or worst case, I think I've drawn it, and Carl's maybe gone for a one-turner if I haven't been able to stall enough. So, I was, I would like to come away from a win. It's now 2 tournaments in a row where I've gone into the last game possibly able to win it, and for one dice roll different, I think I may have done. But I'm pretty happy, and I was really chuffed for Carl, because he absolutely deserved it. He beat Feeks, he beat me, he beat Luke, he beat 3 good coaches with good teams. He had played 3 different styles of team as well. It was a deserved win for him.
Well done. No, that sounds like it was a pretty impressive tournament. So it sounds excellent, really, really good. So, kind of my final question on for all 3 of you. So, what's the biggest learning you got from this tournament? What have you learned from it, and what will you be taking to your next tournament? Let's start off with Tom. Go for it, Tom.
I think for me, I kind of need a plan B with Underworld. Because I realized that if sort of without getting a couple of removals and then having the space to do all of the stuff that they can do, I kind of realized I didn't have much else in my locker with them. And then we played a friendly yesterday, didn't we, Chris? Which went similarly, and it's kind of I didn't really have a plan B. It's the same thing again. The early removals didn't happen, and it was just trying to find that other way of playing them that I'm just not sure I've found yet. I think my tournament build maybe could have been a little bit different. I think still taking the bribe, but maybe the 80k for the biased ref I could have done differently with. I'm not sure. I will take them again, and they're a lot of fun when they do work. You literally have to roll with the punch and accept you're going to lose players. But they are a lot of fun, and you can basically get 15 players in most tournament rosters so easily, so you don't really have to worry about the attrition. So I'll definitely take them again, but I need to do some work on my plan B of what happens when things don't go quite right.
How about yourself, Chris?
It's tricky because I've taken, I take the same build. If the Six Saurus build is there, I take the Six Saurus build. It's what I like to play. It's what I know how to play. So as far as kind of how I played, it's not that I think I played well. I think I was kind of happy with that. Happy that I approached each game in the right way, and that sort of it went the way that I wanted it to go. I think, and it's going to sound like a bit of a shitty takeaway, but I think
I'm so good. I don't need to improve on anything,
no,
guys.
it's not that. It's that I do. I feel like I've done now. Like I think I've gone into plenty of tournaments where I have come out of it and I've been like, I was never going to win that. And like, not, just like, no, I was not good enough to win that. There were plenty of better people, all that. I think it's just kind of been a bit of a confidence boost that I've had a couple of tournaments in a row now where I've been competitive and I've kind of remained competitive, and I have, I've looked back on them and I've been like, that was a tournament I feel like I could have won. So I think my takeaway is just probably like, I need to keep that confidence that when I do what I know and I play how I know I can play, and if I get, dice rolls that I need to get, obviously, then I can go into a tournament thinking I can finish strong here, and maybe one day there is a trophy to bring home. So I think that's probably it.
Cool. So you're done with lizards now. Excellent.
Yeah, he's completed lizard. There you go.
Never.
And finally, how about yourself, Scott?
My learnings from the weekend. If sometimes you think go in for it YOLO and it'll work and it'll be great. Sometimes just again take a step back, take a moment just to reconsider and think, is that right time? C'est la vie. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Drink more beer. So beer equals no salt. That's my big learning. With regards to the rats, I would take the rats again. I would take them with a 4-gutter build without skitter. I would take them without a roger, 4-gutter runner build. So there's some ideas I've got kicking around to take those. And as Chris said, I feel the last 4 tournaments I've been to, which was hasn't been as many as I like, but Deben last year, which have won, Ipswich Classic, average, not so great, 1-1, lost 2, but got the W. Hovell Cake or Death, I think it was 5th out of 43, and then the weekend was 6 out of 30. I think if I can, like Chris, you can go into think actually you can start to think more confidently about finishing in the top half and maybe in the top third as well. You can mix it up, and I think it just shows as well. It's a reflection of when we talk about the level of coaching within ADBBL. We've seen it all. I mean, we were talking about this over the weekend and yesterday. If you take James, for example, Mr. Handley, who had top scorer, he was, what was his final position? Third, I believe, third or fourth.
So, yeah.
James had an absolutely, by his own admissions, the dice just killed him at the Ipswich Open. Even with the Roger build, I think it was the same build he took this weekend. So you'll get days like that. But I think overall, I feel it was another step on the runner's progression as a Blood Bowl coach. And it's always lovely to sit down with Carl, called Luke or Carl, and have some beers and play some Blood Bowl, and then have a few beers afterwards. That's a good learning for me.
Cool. Well, hopefully I'll be able to join you guys next year on it. So it does sound like it was a fantastic match. So yeah.
Well, actually, we as the NDP, we've obviously all getting together now for the Open, the Davao International Open in September. So if anybody's listening, we will be there in force in September, sponsoring the Wooden Spoon, we are pleased to say. And then we do, as the NDP committee, have to get together to decide our itinerary of tournaments for the remainder of this year, next year as well. We've talked about a team tournament, and we have thrown down the gauntlet of us all going to a tournament, taking a new team, a brand new team we haven't played before, and maybe we, give ourselves a 1 week to practice. See, we do the the draw of teams available on a future podcast, and then we go to that tournament and say, okay, what's it like? What's that experience of taking a new team? Because there were several players I talked to on the weekend who had taken new teams or taken teams from their past, and some players flourished, some players didn't. So
just noticed that, Chris, you've just developed some kind of eye problem there. You seem to be twitching at that idea of a
No. I'm really looking forward to seeing what random team you three bring to that tournament in the future. I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
I think Chris would be. It would be interesting when maybe taking rats or pro elves.
Both of those would be
or,
great, but I end up with dwarves and I'm having a bad day.
halflings.
Oh, bad day. Bad
Well,
day.
let's do that, and again, let's do that. And if people want to maybe make suggestions what we're going to put in the team, then we'll wait and see.
Yeah,
Well, look,
absolutely, and please make it as painful for Chris as possible, because he needs to step outside of his comfort zone. Because I'm sorry, you're very effective with 6 Blocksaurus, but 6 Blocksaurus. You can show me the Chumps card as much as you like.
just gonna hold this here. I wasn't going to. I wasn't going to bring it up. But
Are you sure?
but I'm now going to, and I think
what I didn't tell you is I felt sorry for you because I've held it for so long.
Sure,
Well said,
I'm sure you
well
did.
said.
Hope you enjoyed fading.
And it was only 2-1. It was a close match.
If you were at Revolution at the weekend and you want to tell us how you got on, if you have been at another tournament and you want to talk about it and you want to tell us about it, if you have anything at all that you want to speak to us about, then please do get in touch. Scott, how do people get in touch?
Mr. Coe, if people want to get in touch with us, if they want to tell us about their Revolution experience, if they want to tell us, is there a better place to play Bloodbowl outside in the alfresco environment out in Woodbridge, with a gaming shop, with a bar which serves exceptionally good beer, with a pizza place and a coffee shop next to, or within spit of each other, let us know, and we're more than happy to take a look into it and possibly put it in our diary. Drop us a note, new dice please, or one word, or lowercase, uppercase, biggest case, however it comes, newdiceplease@gmail.com. And Mr. Tom Hovell, if you, like any others out there, are looking to catch up on all the Blood Bowl action that you've missed from jaunting and gallivanting around Europe, how do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can obviously get us on YouTube under New Dice Please, where we've got the podcast, but we also, as mentioned, got a number of games that we've played, both League and others. Equally, we're on the socials, so we're on Instagram under New Dice Please, and also Blue Sky on New Dice Please. And we're now at the currently heady heights of 102 followers on Instagram.
Who is number 100? Do we know? And will they get a prize?
I will need to find out and just double check on that one. But yeah, maybe we'll put something together and see what we can do.
Oh, you missed out on the new merch this weekend, Tom, as well. So,
Tom Feeks, word of the day.
Peniophobia.
Which means
fear of poverty.
Oh, wonderful.
Socially responsible as ever, Mr. Feeks.
Exactly. I don't know why you would expect anything else.
No, not at all. Thank you very much, Mr. Bryant. Thank you, Mr. Hovell. Thank you, Mr. Feeks. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We've been New Dice Please, and we'll see you next time.